Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Woo! Here we go, another week of exciting things coming out. There's a lot of cool videos coming out this week, but I want to get started here by reminding you that we're running a contest. What's the contest for? A Cool Stuff gift certificate, dual bet poker. If you want to know more about that, to enter this contest, you need to watch our Board Game Breakfast that was live on Thursday. And of course, many of our great contributors, we split them between this breakfast and that breakfast. So lots of cool things to take a look at. Are you ready though to get started with today? Here we go. So what did I find on the internet this week in regards to board games? First of all, you check out this video here, a silly video about curing that most dreaded of all diseases, analysis paralysis. I found this really interesting thread on Reddit here, Kickstarter Advice, lessons learned from someone who's backed over 70 Kickstarters. That's an interesting thing. They have a lot of interesting, I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but there's a lot of cool things there and a good ensuing discussion. Joel Lee wrote an article at What Nerd saying why I prefer board games over video games. Obviously, it's an article that's aimed towards the video game crowd, but I like the idea of it. And then tabletopday.com, they've announced that Tabletop Day is going to be June 1st this year. June 1st is a radical departure. They normally have run it in April in the past. And interestingly enough, there's several conventions, UK Games Expo, Come On Expo, and Salt Lake City Con. All those are over that holiday. I guess you can celebrate it at those cons too. Most of the internet links from last week are April Fool's jokes, so here's a rundown of the board game related ones that I found. There may be more, I'm sure there is. The most committed was Fantasy Flight, who did a whole thing on Barkham Horror, the Dogwich Legacy. Photoshop, whole details written to it. Yay for effort. Two companies had the same idea of cereal, the pandemic cereal here. Z-Man Games showed that off, which doesn't look too bad. And Renegade Games Studios, which also looks, both of those look delicious. I think I would eat either one of them. Eagle Griffin did Vitel Lacerda, the big box. This is a big box to hold all his big box games. I bet some people actually were disappointed if they found out that it was not real. We have the Tic-Tac-Toe Deluxe Anniversary, which looks actually pretty fun with some cool pieces. A fake Kickstarter. Heavy cardboard and boards and dice. There is some kind of April Fool's joke going on in this video, but it's like an hour long, so you have to watch it. But a lot of good humor from at least the comments from people who watched it. Panda announced dice sleeves. This is probably the least amount of effort that went into something. And then on Suburbia, Ted Osbach put up a thing with some gummy components and things like that. Some people were annoyed about that too. People got annoyed about these things. And then finally, Game Right put up Sushi Go, like literally Sushi Go. So there you go. Well, that's all the stuff I found this week. If you have a link or an article or a video you think I should highlight, then send it to me at tom@dicetower.com. But let's keep going now with some more breakfast.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here for Chop Shop. Today I'm taking a look at a game I'm letting go, which is a trick-taking game, and there are tons of trick-taking games out there. Though this one does have something that's pretty unique, and that is, this one has a board, a nice big board. This is a game called Canyon. And in Canyon, you are going to be predicting how many tricks you think you are going to take. You are going to be moving down the water here, the river, and then waterfalls at the end with your canoe, a little wooden token. And you are going to be advancing based on how many tricks you took, with a bonus on top of that. If you took the number that you predicted, you see everybody has a set of small cards here. And after you look at your hand of cards, you can decide how many you think you're going to take. Well, I'm going to win 4 tricks with this hand. You play this face down in front of you, you're going to reveal that, and then you try to win those. Even if you don't make 4, let's say you took 5 tricks, you'll still move 5 spaces, but if you do take 4, you're going to get a bonus movement on that river. And then, of course, you've got the jostling for position with the actual tokens. You have to go around people if they're in your way, that sort of thing. It's a solid game. There's a couple of reasons why I'm letting this one go. The first one, it's a me problem. I just own too many trick-taking games. And they keep on coming. I have, I think, 5 or 6 trick-taking games sitting on my review pile as we speak. So there's just too many of them. And then secondly, the style of trick-taking games in which you predict how many tricks you'll be taking just isn't one of my favorites, you know. And this one isn't particularly flexible. There's another trick-taking game, for example, I have in which when you predict the tricks, you can be close. And I like that a little bit better. So Canyon is an interesting idea. It's a fun game because of the board implementation, but it is just a little too big and a little too samey at the end of the day for me to continue hanging on to it. So it's gotta go. That's it for me on this Chop Shop. Thanks for checking this out, everybody. Enjoy your breakfast. I'm Z Garcia. See you on the next one.
This is Roy Caney, and this is Printed Pieces, where we talk about 3D printing and what it can bring to the board gaming hobby. This week on Printed Pieces, we're talking all about 3D printed inserts for board games. Inserts are things that help you organize your components into your board game, and there's all sorts of different inserts that have come out, whether they be laser cut wooden ones or foam core ones that people have built, but we're going to be talking about 3D printing inserts for your board game. So there's an insert that I decided I found on Thingiverse, and I thought would be really cool to do in a game, just a small simple game, and I took a shot at printing out an insert for Tiny Epic Quest. So it's kind of cool because it has spaces for all your little Meeple characters, and the item Meeple stuff goes underneath a thing, and it has a place for the dice and a place for the cards to be held in place. And inserts are always cool to keep your game nice and organized. There are tons of different board game inserts that you can 3D print out. And as you're doing them, most of these inserts are going to come in like several different pieces, because a lot of board games, the boxes are bigger than like the bed that you would have for your 3D printer. My 3D printer is an Ender 3, and the bed size is like 9 inches by 9 inches, so most boxes are bigger than that. So a lot of these inserts that you find on Thingiverse or different things like that come in a bunch of different pieces. Maybe there's a piece that holds cards, and then another piece that holds tokens, and all these pieces come together to be able to make the full insert. Since I did Tiny Epic Quest, I was able to print it all out on the bed at the same time, so that made it a little bit easier for that sort of stuff. But there's all sorts of things you can do, whether it's like Arkham Horror LCG or like Clank, or there's all sorts of different inserts you can find out there on Thingiverse. It's really cool to have these inserts and the community that has come around and made a lot of these inserts that are free for you to be able to download and print out to keep your game organized. So awesome. Let me know in the comments down below what things you would love to 3D print, or what things would be cool for 3D printing for a board game. And thanks so much for joining me here on Printed Pieces, and we'll talk about some more board game stuff next time. I'll see you then.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, we're doing a couple of live plays of games. Volleyball High will be happening tomorrow on Tuesday, and on Friday we're going to be playing a game from Colossal. And then, of course, we're doing live board game breakfast on Thursday, etc. Some reviews I'm going to be taking a look at this week. Ratland, where you're part of the Rat Mafia. We also have a game from Cosmodrone Games. They're the folks who did Smartphone Inc., Zakaznik, which is kind of a building a wildlife preserve. Zoo Break, a cooperative game about stopping animals from escaping a zoo. Wonder Zoo, which is about building a zoo. I guess you could play one first, then the other. I'm taking a look at the new 6th student expansion for Potion Explosion. The party game Clickbait, this little game that uses the app called Lost Galaxy. The expansion for Jet Set Jumbo Jets. From Academy Games, we have Tutor. From Grana Games, Roll and Wall. And then Gravity Superstar, basically a video game of sorts that's as a board game. And Heroes Welcome Merchants of Dragon Reach, where you sell to both the monsters and to the heroes. So all that's coming your way this week. Of course, other videos and things like that. Stay tuned. Let's keep moving on.
Hello guys, Cardboard Rhino here, and I'd like to ask you to fasten your seatbelts, as today we're going for a ride with a fantastic real-time cooperative pick-up and delivery game, Now Boarding. In Now Boarding, players are pilots and must deliver all the passengers they can to their destinations before they get too angry. You have a map of the states and several airports with the distance between them indicated by these white dots, while some routes are accessible only to planes with the matching symbol. Each player has their own plane, which has seats for the passengers, flies at a certain speed and in specific routes, and you can buy upgrades for all of these and expand your aircraft. You have 3 stages in the game: morning, afternoon, and night, each played for a number of rounds until finished with new passengers arriving. When you add passenger cards to the board before each round, you'll place them face down so you'll know where those passengers need to be picked up from, but not where they need to go. This you learn when the send timer is flipped, and until then you can plan and discuss with each other how to handle the situations. You'll also have to deal with weather conditions, which can make some routes tougher, like the storms, or easier to get through, like tailwinds. Once the timer has been flipped, all the players take their actions simultaneously. You have only 15 or 30 seconds, if you're playing with more than 3 players, to move, pick up and drop off passengers. When you drop a passenger off at their destination, you'll receive the money shown on their card with which you can buy upgrades. Passengers hate long waits at airports, so they accumulate anger if they do, but they are happy as long as they are in a plane, even if they don't go to their final destination directly. You can coordinate with the other pilots to drop off passengers at an airport so they can pick them up and deliver them at their destination in a more efficient way. Once the timer runs out and everyone has completed their actions, every passenger card that is at an airport will get 1 anger cube. When a passenger gets a 4th anger cube, they just march off to file a complaint, and when you receive your 3rd complaint, you all lose the game. This game weirdly gives you lots of satisfaction from coordinating and managing the never-ending puzzle of the new passengers constantly arriving to getting upgrades and seeing your airplane getting bigger and fancier. The key of it all is in the planning, but since you don't know the destination of the new passengers, it's challenging, and the timer makes the pressure feel real. Adding to the difficulty but also to the fun of the game are the VIPs, which are special passengers with extra quirks that if not served, they immediately file a complaint. So you might get celebrities who are divas that need the whole plane to themselves, minors who can fly alone, or even worse, a crying baby, which makes the rest of the passengers angry, and honestly, I cannot blame them. So overall, I think this game is unique and exciting, so Rhino says yes to Now Boarding. You should definitely check it out.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Just Missed It. This is a segment where I kind of take a look at a 1 or maybe 2 games, this time it's going to be 2, where they just missed the mark. Maybe they just missed the mark and they're really, really bad, or they just missed the mark and they could have been so much better, but they just missed that cusp of becoming greatness. So there it is. First game that we're going to talk about is this one right here, Atlantis, Island of the Gods. Now, I like hand management games just as much as the next person, maybe even a little bit more. And this one has a little extra quirk on it that everybody's kind of going after their own end goal condition, whatever it might be. They're trying to but they're trying to build temples that their specific deity is looking for at each of the different building sites. So that's cool. There's kind of a different end of the game for everybody. That's kind of cool. But that was pretty much it. Nothing else in the game really differentiated itself from other things, other games that kind of do the same thing, where you're having to use a handful of resources or a tableau full of resources to accomplish certain things on the board. It just didn't differentiate itself enough from the rest of the pack. It just missed the mark. And on top of that, there's a lot of iconography in the game that just doesn't make sense until you memorize it. And that's troublesome as well. So just missed the mark of being something that I really, really, really enjoyed. I did enjoy it, but I wanted to like it more, and it just didn't happen. Now this next game I really wanted to enjoy a lot because I really enjoyed Commission, and this is another big box game that came from Kaura Games. And Soul of the Empire I really wanted to like a lot because I like area control, I like asymmetrical player powers, I like different winning conditions, and this has all of that. But it's almost like it was too asymmetric, too variable, because it just seemed like a couple of the factions were just slightly more powerful than the other ones. And again, I'm not saying I know better than the designer did because he's probably spent years, months doing and designing this game. So I'm not saying that I know that. I'm just telling you how it felt with my experience of the game. And so I really wanted to enjoy it. I did enjoy it, but it just felt like it was too much of a good thing because it kind of soured after a couple of plays. And I don't know, I enjoyed it, but I wanted to enjoy it so much more, so it just missed the mark. So that's about it for another segment of Just Missed It. Let's get back to the rest of your breakfast.
Never ever play Scrabble again. Hi everybody, I'm Jana, and I am dyslexic. I'm dyslexic. I'm dyslexic.
Gaming as a dyslexic person.
I've actually talked about it a lot lately, and it's super weird because I've spent most of my life trying to hide the fact that I'm dyslexic. I can't spell Wednesday. Please don't think I'm stupid. This new confidence has really come from board gaming. I'm not talking about the board games that I used to play when I was a kid, like Scrabble and Monopoly, Risk, and Clue. So I won't have to spell in front of my friends? No. I'm talking about modern board games. Games that have evolved. That could be fun. Here are a couple things I've learned and wanted to pass on to any other dyslexic gamers out there. Number one, I've learned not to feel guilty for not playing games that I know I can't excel at. For example, Scrabble. Scrabble is a spelling competition. The second thing that I've learned is that the more upfront I am about being a slower reader, the better it goes for everyone at the game if there is a lot of reading involved in the game. If you tell everybody at the table to begin with, everyone's usually pretty gracious about it. And while it is a little humbling to have to say I'm a slow reader, it really does make the game go smoother if everyone knows why it's taking me so long to make choices. The other thing is to not limit yourself when learning new games. I can't tell you how often I get overwhelmed when I'm learning a new game. If it looks too complex, I will shut myself down and I'll stop listening well, and it just doesn't go well. But I've learned that if I give myself a chance, give my teacher a chance, I usually pick up the game just as well as anybody else learning the game. Board games have really given me a new platform to exercise my abilities as a dyslexic person, not just in a creative, artistic field, but in a thinky, puzzly, competitive field. And that's because a lot of games involve pattern recognition, route and network building, and pattern building and set collection. These are all things that this is how my brain works, and it's really been exciting to play a game and sit down with everyone else and be able to compete in a fun way. So that's my video about dyslexic gaming. I hope that it will be encouraging to the other people out there who are dyslexic, and if you'd like to see more videos about being a dyslexic gamer, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel, Almost a Board Gamer.
It's your turn.
Ooh.
Hey guys, I'm ready.
I'm Ellen. Welcome to We Game Together. We're talking about
Feast Rodin. Expansion.
We planned that. It went smoother than the last time.
Did it?
Yep.
I thought my flourishing was better.
That was a nice addition, actually. Okay, so the expansion. I think this is the first time we've ever talked about just an expansion.
Yeah, like where we're focusing on the expansion.
Yeah, just it. And I kind of went back and forth on whether or not we should, but I feel like it changes.
I didn't go back and forth. I said, yeah, that sounds good.
He's like, yeah, I don't care. And I was like, but I don't know. And I had this whole thing with myself. I feel like it changes the game enough to warrant a conversation. All right.
Yes. It's, the first thing most people say is, does Feast for Odin really need an expansion? And the answer is absolutely not. But I liked a lot of things that it did. It gives you more options, yes, which you don't necessarily need, but just, expanding on options that are already there. Yes. Breeding with the horses and the cows are already there. Now they added pigs, there's
the
cows,
the horse, the pigs.
The cows and sheep. This adds horses and pigs. And so pigs can actually breed every round. So there's just expanding on the options that were already there. And the new exploration ports I really liked a lot.
Yeah.
The center board is now kind of tailored depending on if you have 2, 3, or 4 players.
Which is cool.
We've only played the expansion with 2 so far, but the board has less options actually. So it is actually
Makes it tighter. Makes it tighter.
And something, I was going through the game, and I was picking some of these. I'm like, I have to do like completely different strategies from what I did last time.
Yeah.
Because some of those options aren't as open.
Yeah. When we got this out, I was totally expecting to get like the board and put it out, but it's a new one, so I had to reacquaint myself with how it was set up. It wasn't bad, but it was tighter, so I could not do.
It was tighter and
as much as I wanted, but in a good way. It wasn't. It was. Cool.
I like doing a lot of the pillaging, and actually one of the pillaging spaces is gone now, so you can't just pillage. So you have to kind of balance yourself out a little bit more. Which is kind of
nice because you literally abuse that.
I do.
Like
usually.
And I can't keep up with it ever. Oh, guys, don't even get me started, all right?
So definitely.
I love the expansion.
Definitely really good with 2 players.
Was it amazing? Yes.
Yes.
So who cares?
Highly, highly recommended expansion from a highly, highly recommended game. My favorite worker placement by far.
He's getting fancy over there. That's fancy. This is the best worker placement game I've played to date.
Good, guys.
Okay, so let's just let that sit right there. It's real good.
Yes. And picture of the day, that stuff.
Yep.
See you next time.
Bye.
So what's getting added to the Dice Tower this week, our library? First of all, the newer version of Walkstar. Walkstar is a really good cooperative game, so glad to have that one. Brass Lancashire. So we have the other brass, we might as well have both of them. I'm also sticking in Baseball Highlights 2045. This has a lot of the expansions, a lot of stuff is in here. And then Wildlands, I'm adding that along with its new map and the new faction that go along with that. I'm going to be adding Quad Heroes. With this one, is a super fun game. Looking forward to putting this one in the library. And then Imperial Assault. Now, we decided that we would just for now add the base game with a few extra little things in it to the library, but it is painted and all that. So that is what we've added this week. Let's keep going.
Have you been to one of those trendy escape rooms? Do you like it? I'm going to talk about a few of those in the game coming up. Good day, it's Stella from Meeple University. Our passion is to bring a variety of board game videos just like this one. Have you been to an escape room? If you haven't, this is where you usually go to a place. They have different rooms. You go to a room trying to solve the puzzles and escape. So much fun. Now these days they are becoming more and more popular. Those escape room games in the box, they usually come in a smallish box. They have a few series and usually you can only play once. Some of them that I can think of is Exit, Unlock, Escape Room the Game, and Dexcape. These escape room board games, they're usually so much fun to do. You work together with your friends, you try to solve the puzzle that's in the game. In exit games, you usually need to destroy the components, so you can probably just use the game once. you can't give it to your friends, but in Unlock and Deckscape, you can reuse it again and again. Although once you solve the puzzle, you can't do it anymore, but you still can probably exchange the game with your friends. With Unlock, it comes with the apps. It's really intuitive. You work the puzzle by using the apps as well. In Escape Room the game, you need the base game because it comes with the decoder. You use that decoder on your next games. The base game itself comes with 4 scenarios, so you can get and keep getting expansions and use the same decoders. Hope you enjoy watching. If you enjoyed, please consider checking us out on YouTube. Until next week.
Hi, we're Boardgame Opinions. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Steve.
I'm Nathan.
I'm Amy.
And this is our speed quiz, where contestants attempt to guess answers to a particular category. And this week's category is games involving player elimination. I want anything that's in the top 1,000 games on Board Game Geek Go, so it's got to be a good game in that sense. I can tell you there are 58 possible games that satisfy that criteria. You get 2 points if it's a game I've not played. You get 1 point if I have played it before. And we're going to start with Amy. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, off you go.
Cash and Guns.
Yes.
Love Letter.
Yes.
Coup.
Yes.
Masquerade.
Not high enough.
Werewolf. Ultimate Werewolf.
Ultimate Werewolf, yes, I'll give you.
Coyote.
Coyote, no.
Werewolf Legacy.
No.
Perudo.
That's
Sliced
called
Dice.
something, it's Sliced Dice, isn't it? Yes. That is on here, yes.
Pass.
Okay, I'll open it up to the floor.
Love Letter Batman.
Yes.
Love Letter Cthulhu.
It's not called that.
Munchkin Loot Letter.
No.
Lovecraft Letter.
Amy can
I'm
have
going to give that to Amy.
that.
It's a lot more.
Love Letter Deluxe or Premium or
Premium, yes.
whatever we want to
Yeah,
call
that's
it.
One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Gobbit.
Werewolves of Miller's Hollow. Is that what it's called?
No, there's, yeah, that one's good.
Oh, yes. No, sorry, they're not. I thought it was, but it's not.
Oh.
Mafia de Cuba.
Don't think it's high enough. Okay, we're nearly running out of time. No. Time! Right, let me add up the scores, we'll see how they did. Alright, I've totted up the scores, and Nathan has 1, Steve has 4, and Amy has 5.
Yeah!
I actually didn't notice the Werewolves of Miller's Hollow, which was on there, and is the only one they got was worth 2 points, because I haven't played that one. It was on the T instead of W. So yeah, so our overall scores then for the season, because that kind of concludes the season, are 3.5 to Steve, 0.5 point to Nathan, and 1 point to Amy. So well done, Steve, who is our champion. Just a few things you could have had on there. Combat games generally, so things like a Game of Thrones, Mythic Battles, Neuroshima Hex, or party games, so things like Skull, Red 7, the shorter things. Poker is on the list as well. So there's actually a wide variety of things you could have had there. Right, hopefully you got a few of those at home. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Hi folks, Broken Meeple here, just another rant for you, even though I'm feeling in a pretty good mood right now, but cash cows. And I'm talking about series cash cows, where, for crying out loud, can we stop milking these things? You know, what have we had lately? We had Catan Inkers, remember that one recently? Well, wasn't that great a game, and again, it's 1 out of, what, a million Catans now? I love Catan just fine. I don't need 20 more of them. Pandemic? My favourite one, Iberia, and the Legacy games, obviously. But then what have we had? The Rising Tide spin-off, and now we've had Fall of Rome. I tried it last week. Not that great. It's okay, but again, it's just Pandemic with a slight twist. You know, wow, innovation. Ticket to Ride London's been announced. I've got UK, I've got about, what, like 5 other map packs down here and 2 other big packs. I don't need more Ticket to Ride. There is plenty. Can we design some new games, please? And it's not even just those 3. I mean, you can argue that, say, Arkham Horror has that problem. You know, this is the 3rd edition now. You've had Eldritch Horror, you've had Arkham Horror, the LCG. Granted, I love both those games. They're in my collection. But still, can't we just have something a bit new? I seem to feel that innovation has just disappeared from a lot of board game design, where you feel that this designer and this publisher could go on and do great things, and they do great things, but they're wasting their time just giving us the same thing every time. And this could be like themes as well have this problem with Vikings, and zombies and generic fantasy. Everything just being used over and over again. So do you agree, guys? Am I being a little bit too harsh on the industry there? Are you okay with these being, re-released and all these extra maps and stuff like that for series that we've seen for like the last 10, 15 years? Or do you want to see something new? Tell me what you think in the comments, let us know, let us debate this. Until then, I'll see you on the next Luke Rants, and this is the Broken Meeple, signing off. Take care, and remember, it's only a game.
Dun 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 dun. Hi, I'm Jordan, and this is Second Chance Shelf, where I take a look back at an older game and see if it deserves another chance off your shelf. Today I'm going to look at Vikings by Michael Kiesling, where we look at the age-old question, which Vikings can score the most points? In Vikings, players are trying to score the most points by collecting pairs of Vikings and islands and placing them strategically in your player area. Points are indicated by these lovely brown player markers. But on a turn, players are purchasing the islands and Viking pairs that are around the price wheel. There's always a free option available to them. If they wanted to purchase something that was more expensive, they'd be able to do that and just have to pay the cost associated with that. If they do take the free option though, the wheel does turn and a different option becomes free for the next player. So over here is the area where you're going to be placing your tiles. The starting island tiles must be placed along this edge, and anything over here must be able to connect perfectly with the island, either an end piece or a middle piece. You can build up and down, so this would be a legal move. If you want to be able to place your Viking, it must be in the same color that matches the Viking along the left-hand row. So if I want to place this here, then I could play the blue one, but if I wanted to put it up here, my blue guy would come up here, and I'd have to on a future turn be able to move him onto an island. Well, there's a little bit about Vikings. Definitely get this one off the shelf if you have a chance. It still holds up over time. The artwork could use a facelift, but I'm sure this one will be coming back at some point. Michael Kiesling is really hot right now. But until next time, I'm Jordan. Happy breakfast. One of the things that people talk to me about whenever I review a game, and this is usually when you review a game negatively, they'll say, with the right group, this game just works amazingly. Or in the right settings. Well, first of all, my response to that almost always is, no joke. I mean, there's always going to be a group of people who like every game. There have been games out there I've given ones to, and I think that are abhorrent blights upon the board gaming world. And yet I'm sure there is some group of people somewhere that enjoy these games. And that's not a bad thing. If you enjoy a game, what does it matter what I rate it? I could rate it a -5, and if you enjoy it, who cares? But I think we have to be cautious about saying with the right group. Well, again, that's kind of just this coverall thing. You have to be in the right mood. You have to be in the right room. You have to play it the right way. No, that doesn't invalidate my opinion of a game. For me, the right group is a group of people who I have a great time with, even if the game's bad. Sure, but we can still point out that the game is bad in our opinions, of course. There's all kinds of games. This is usually often used with a beer and pretzel style game, a very light game, or a silly game. You're like, well, the right group. Sure, just like an acting game is better when you play with people who are creative and spontaneous. Just like a heavy Euro game is better when the people there are taking it very seriously and trying to do their best. Just like a war game is probably better when you play with people who kind of get into the history and enjoy that way. The game can always be better with the right group, but if you need a right group to play it, I'm not sure that's necessarily a good feature of the game. There are a lot of fragile or esoteric games that you kind of need a specific group to enjoy them. Maybe it is a creative word game, and you're going to need people who love words to do that. And yes, you always should maybe strive to find people who would gravitate toward a certain game. But I have found that in board gaming itself, just because I don't necessarily like a genre, doesn't mean I won't like any particular game in that genre. For example, I'm not a huge Cthulhu theme lover. I'm not a big zombie lover of themes. But there are games in both of those themes that I really enjoy. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of maybe roll and write games, but there are some roll and write games that I find to be incredibly entertaining and fun. So I don't want to be pigeonholed into liking a certain category or saying that you need to be someone who enjoys a category to be able to talk about it or play it. The right group. For me, the right group is a group of people who, when they're done with the game, leave the game liking everyone at the table as much as they did when they started the game, if not more. To me, the right group goes home, and even if the games that were on display that night were fairly bad, still had a good time. To me, the right group are people who care about others, who don't take too long on their turns, and at the same time are patient with others, who have a good sport, whether they've won or lost. That is the right group. To me, the right group is someone who doesn't take the game too seriously, and yet at the same time doesn't treat the game too lightly either. To me, the right group is a group that's welcoming to everybody and enjoys anybody who comes by to jump in and play with them. To me, the right group is a group that knows that games are toys and they're just entertainment and they aren't the most important thing on earth, but at the same time don't look at them as just things that kids do. That is what I consider to be the right group. So when people say you should have played it with the right group, my response is, I think I did.
My name's Andy and welcome to Potable Gaming, the show about games which are fun to play in pubs and cafes. So today I'm going to talk you through one of my quaintest games with probably the nicest theme I've got, but it's also perhaps the most bloodthirsty game that I've ever played. It was pitched to me, in fact, as a game called Blood on the China, but its real name is Elevensies. So in Elevensies, you're doing your best to try and create the perfect morning tea spread. And you're doing this by trying to build the perfect tableau in front of you. On your turn, what you will do is you'll either play one card from your hand face up, carry out the special action on it, and take the other card back into your hand, or you will do an arrange action, in which case you will move cards around. So you'll pick up one card here, put another card from your hand down, and so on. And your aim is to try and build the best, highest scoring spread before somebody plays the Elevensies card and ends the round. At the end of the round, you'll grab some sugar cubes to score through, reset everything, and go along from there. And the game, you keep playing rounds until somebody has 5 sugar cubes, and that's the game. Now it sounds very simple, but what's beautiful about this game is everything has a very sort of strong take that element. And I know I've mentioned a few take that element games there, and these often work really well in this kind of situation, because they're often a bit of daft fun. But this is just brutal. Everything you can mess up somebody's entire game with one move, or vice versa. You can make your entire game with one move. You can watch what somebody's doing and kind of take those actions to sort of mitigate their victory. And that isn't fun for everybody, and I happily admit that it's not fun for everybody. But if you play this with the right people, you play this with kind of the right mindset of knowing it's going to be so brutal and just leading into that, it becomes a lot of fun. And we've played this with non-gamers. In a pub one night, Sarah and I found a bunch of guys. We just had to play this because we bumped into them and they loved it. It was a lot of fun, and it's very portable. As you can see, it fits nicely here on a mat for 2 players. It fits across a bit more on a few others as well. And honestly, I'd really recommend it. So that is Elevensies. Anyway, thanks very much, folks. I've been Andy, and it's your round.
It's time for a quick board game review with Charlie. Today, I'm going to be looking at Robinson Crusoe, Adventures on the Cursed Island.
Charlie, Charlie, gaming's what he do. It's time for his favorite segment, Charlie's Quick Review.
Yeah, this game is a quick 120 minutes. You won't even notice it, so quick. It's a cooperative game where everyone's working together to get off the island. If one person dies, everyone dies. This game is super quick, super easy. The rulebook, 19 pages. It's easy.
Setup is just 20 easy steps. Super easy. Place the board in the middle of the table. Each player draws a random character card. Soldier, a white marker on the morale track. Got it. White, morale, done. Put a black marker on the topmost space of the weapon level track. Weapons. Take the 9 adventure cards, mark with the adventure. Separate the adventure cards. Adventure. Go. Shuffle the beast card. Got it. Beast deck. Go. Mystery card. Got it. Mystery. 9. Almost halfway there. Take the island tile marked with the number 8 and place it face up island side in the indicated island space on the main board on that tile. Island tile. Got it. Wow. Look at how tiny that print is. What is this, a game for mice? Super not complicated whatsoever. More rules. Place the black marker on the shovel. Shovel. We got it. Shuffle the island. The shuffle. Shuffle the 8 starting items. Shuffle. Shuffle the discovering token. I love all these pieces. Got it. Place all the resource cube within easy reach of all the players. Yeah, I can reach it. Yeah, I can reach it. Yeah, I can reach it. Yeah, it's all good. Why? The scenario card near the main board. Scenario. Got it. Round 1. Go! Separate the event card into 2 face-down piles. One that shows a book icon, the other shows an adventure icon of any color, and shuffle each. The divided number of rounds depicted on it, select the scenario card by 2, round up, take that number of cards each pile, shuffle them together, and place them face down in the event space on the main board, creating the event deck. Any remaining event cards should be placed back in the box. For example, the basic scenario caster is 12 round, take 6 random event cards with the book icon and 6 with the adventure icon, and shuffle them back together. Easy! Done! Place the wreckage card food crates in the rightmost space of the threat action field. There it is! Food crates! Youngest player takes the first player token. First player has 2 additional duties during the game. First player! You're the first player! When there are only 2 players, they all have an additional character. Friday! Dog! Now we're all set up. Super quick, super easy, super fun. No time whatsoever. What's next? Game objective. Don't die.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Now listen, Dice Tower Cruise registration went live last Friday. I'm recording this before that happens. So I don't know if it's sold out by now, but I do know it was way more than half sold out before we even opened it up to the public. So if you want to come on Dice Tower Cruise, do that. Our Dice Tower Retreat tickets are also selling a lot more quickly at this point in time. So if you want to come to Dice Tower Retreat and just play games with people, and you know, each week this segment I do what I'm adding to the library, those are games you have an opportunity to play. So both those things, DicetowerRetreat.com, DicetowerCruise.com, and of course Dice Tower Con. That's coming up in July. Still, chance for you to come to that. Great publishers coming to that. Really fun events, live shows. You will have a fantastic time there. So lots of these different events coming up, and of course, all of our stuff that we're putting out in video each week. Some cool things coming this time. Until the next time I see you, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff, in stock, at CoolStuffInc.com.